1982. Dietrich Mateschitz is 38 years old. By any traditional metric, he has reached the summit of corporate success. As the international marketing director for Blendax, a German toothpaste giant, his life is a recurring loop of first-class flights, sterile boardrooms, and five-star hotels. But Mateschitz is restless. He is a man who understands the code of consumer behavior, and he knows that selling toothpaste is just a game of incremental gains. He's looking for a disruption. During a business trip to Thailand, crushed by a 12-hour time difference and the suffocating humidity of Bangkok, he sees rickshaw drivers and factory workers drinking a thick non-carbonated syrup called Krattingdian. In the West, energy is something you get from a slow cup of coffee or a sugary soda. In the East, he realizes, energy is treated like a pharmaceutical intervention. He drinks it. The effect is violent. The fog of jet lag doesn't just lift, it's incinerated. He realizes that the active ingredients, taurine and caffeine, aren't just additives, they are a psychological promise. Most people would see a niche product for laborers. Mateschitz sees a global category that hasn't been born yet. He spends the next 3 years in a state of obsessive reverse engineering. He strikes a 50-50 partnership with the Thai creator, Kaleo Uvidya. But the transition to the West is a nightmare. He isn't just launching a drink, he is fighting a war against the established definitions of safety and beverage. Mateschitz commissions the most respected market research firms in Europe. The feedback is catastrophic. Focus groups don't just dislike Red Bull, they find it offensive. They describe the taste as liquid candy mixed with battery acid. One report famously stated, "No consumer will ever pay for a drink that tastes like a cough drop and smells like a chemistry lab." In the world of traditional business, this is where the story ends. The data said no. The experts said never. But Mateschitz understood a fundamental principle of the human psyche. Friction creates value. If he could change the perception of the liquid, the taste wouldn't be a bug. It would be the ultimate proof of efficacy. He decided to lean into the disgust. 1987. Red Bull launches in Austria. To succeed, Mateschitz has to execute a cognitive rewiring of the consumer. He does this by breaking every rule of the beverage industry playbook. Rule number 1 in the 80s was value for money. If you wanted to compete with Coke or Pepsi, you offered more ounces for fewer cents. Mateschitz does the opposite. He launches Red Bull at a price point nearly 400% higher than its competitors. This is the premium paradox. In the mind of a consumer, price is a signal for quality. If a drink is 40 cents, it's a refreshment. If it's $2, it's a functional tool. By pricing it higher, he bypassed the thirst market and entered the performance market. Then comes the packaging. Look at the Red Bull can. It's slim, tall, and made of high-grade aluminum. In 1987, everything else was in a fat 12-oz can. By making the container smaller, Mateschitz sent a subconscious message. This is a concentrate. You don't chug a Red Bull. You administer it. It was designed to look like something you'd find in a high-tech laboratory or a futuristic cockpit. This leads to the utility code. Mateschitz realized that if something tastes too good, the brain doesn't believe it has power. Think about medicine. If your cough syrup tasted like chocolate, you'd doubt its strength. By keeping the medicinal and metallic aftertaste that focus groups hated, he validated the consumer's belief that they were consuming something potent. He wasn't selling a flavor, he was selling a physiological result. The final pillar of this phase was the legal aura. Because Red Bull had high levels of taurine and caffeine, it was initially banned in several European countries, including France and Denmark. Instead of fighting these bans quietly, Red Bull used them as the ultimate marketing tool. Being illegal or dangerous made the drink the ultimate forbidden fruit for the youth. It wasn't a soda, it was a rebel's fuel. But awareness is expensive. Mateschitz didn't have the $100 million needed for a global TV campaign. He had to be smarter. He had to hack the social code. This led to the creation of what we now call guerrilla social proof. In the early 90s, Red Bull's marketing team practiced trash can seeding. They would drive to the trendiest nightclubs in London, Berlin, and Ibiza. They wouldn't buy a single billboard. Instead, they would fill the trash cans outside the clubs with empty, crushed Red Bull cans. They would scatter them in the bathrooms and leave them on the bar counters. When people left the club at 4 a.m., exhausted and looking for a way to recover, their brain performed a social heuristic. Everyone is drinking this. I must be the only one who hasn't tried it. Mateschitz manufactured a trend before the public even knew what the product was. He created an illusion of popularity that eventually became reality. Then he scaled this through the Wings team. This wasn't a traditional sales force. These were brand nodes. He hired the most popular, high-energy students on campus and gave them a simple psychological mission. If you give someone a free drink at a grocery store, you are an annoyance. If you give someone a Red Bull when they are in the middle of a 20-hour study session or a grueling double shift, you are a hero. By attaching the brand to the moment of rescue, Mateschitz earned a level of brand loyalty that money can't buy. He wasn't just in their fridge, he was in their survival story. By the late 1990s, Red Bull was a billion-dollar company. But Mateschitz saw a looming threat. In the digital age, attention was becoming the most expensive commodity on earth. He realized that if he kept renting attention by buying ads on TV networks, he was just a tenant in someone else's house. Mateschitz made a radical pivot. He decided to stop buying ads and start becoming the event itself. This is the ownership code. Most brands, like Pepsi or Heineken, pay hundreds of millions to put their logo on a stadium. Red Bull decided to buy the stadium. They bought 2 Formula One teams. They bought soccer clubs in Salzburg, Leipzig, New York, and Brazil. This is the shift from interruption marketing to content integration. Every time an F1 car with a giant Red Bull logo takes the podium, they get hundreds of millions of dollars in free global television coverage. The drink has become the souvenir you buy after watching the content. They aren't selling a beverage, they are selling the energy required to achieve greatness, and they prove that energy exists through the sports they own. The ultimate manifestation of this was October 14, 2012. Red Bull Stratos Draw. Felix Baumgartner stands on the edge of space. The entire world is holding its breath. This event cost Red Bull an estimated $30 million. For any other brand, that's a risky marketing expense. For Red Bull, it was a masterclass in earned media. Over 8.4 million people watched the live stream. It was covered by every major news outlet on the planet. The total media value they received in return was estimated at over $500 million. They didn't buy a commercial during the sporting event. They created a historical event. Dietrich Mateschitz passed away in 2022, leaving behind a company that sells nearly 12 billion cans a year. But his real legacy isn't the liquid inside those cans. It's the proof that a founder's conviction can override 100% of the market data. He taught us that logic is the enemy of greatness. So what can we take away from the Red Bull story? First, data is a rearview mirror. If Mateschitz had followed the focus groups, Red Bull would have died in a lab in 1984. Second, price is a psychological tool. High prices don't just increase margins, they increase the consumer's belief in the product's power. Third, don't be a guest. Be the host. Stop buying ads on other people's platforms and start building your own world. The $20 billion illusion of Red Bull is simple. They don't sell you a drink that gives you wings. They sell you the conviction that you already have them. In a world of commodities, products are cheap, but philosophies are priceless. Success isn't about what you sell. It's about the code you use to sell it. Subscribe to install the next one.